Hi guys, welcome to another video with Sketchpix and Chill. I am Sketchpix and we are here to chill. I think the first thing that you'll notice as we get started is that I in fact have zero chill. I am so nervous trying to make that template work. We are starting with a 5 by 7 inch square. I like to use templates so that I always have the right size image for what I'm trying to do, and so that later on when someone asks me, how big is that? I can actually tell them instead of going, A4. So I like to make all of my templates out of like old chip bags and stuff, so if you ever see the front side, I promise, that's just my chip box. But so right here, you can see me all shaky-handed trying to get my first oval in for this spell that we're drawing. So in the Spellshot series, what I am doing is I am drawing a series of thumbnails in my free time, what few moments of it exist, and then when I come to my drawing tab, my drawing table, all I have to do is flip through, find something that speaks to me, and I can draw that image on a grander scale. I tweak it, I mess with it, whatever. And so the whole point of this is to just have an opportunity to lay back, relax, and draw some silly doodles that maybe will look a lot better when they're on a fancy piece of paper. So right now I do believe I'm trading out my pencils and fixing my sleeve. No, my hand's there. I'm trading out pencils. There we go. So what this is this is a 2mm. So originally I was using a 0.5 and now we're using a 2.0. And so the reason for this is because when you draw construction images, they're so light, they're so easy to smudge that sometimes you get a little bit lost. It's hard to catch the details when you're working on it later. And so right now, what you're seeing is I am redrawing out those construction lines a little bit more concrete fashion using this nice big easily visible pencil. The other thing with using bigger pencils is that usually they're given a much softer lead, even among mechanical pencils, and so that means that it's going to erase easier, it's going to lift up easier, and it's not going to leave as deep a groove in your paper unless you're really being aggressive with it. I'm so sorry if you hear me sniffing into the microphone. I have had a terrible case of pneumonia, or whatever you call it when every morning you wake up hacking fluid in your lungs. Call it perks of being a school teacher. I don't have time to recover from illnesses. And so here I sit drawing bags of money instead. It's not a wish or anything, it's just a fun thing to do. But this is a spell. This is supposed to be a projectile that you would throw at someone, and so I kind of picture in my head this is somebody who hates you so much they want to drown you in this big old pile of gold. Like, you know, you want money, you like money more than me? Well, here, drown in it, you know? And so that's kind of the premise of this spell, is this is a never-ending bag of gold to just pour on top of you until it buries you. And so, you know, I like to come up with the idea behind the spell, what it's going to do, what it's going to look like, and then I get to use it for writing in my book or for drawing here, and it's just a really fun exercise. It takes a lot of the stress out of it, because it's just a spell. Like, obviously it's not supposed to look realistic, it's not supposed to look genuine, it's just supposed to look vaguely like the thing. It's supposed to look like a bag of money the way you'd imagine it in your head. And this is how I imagine bags of money in my head. Turned upside down, pouring on top of me. We've all got dreams, you know. In this little space, we're taking a pause, we're reassessing. I will say I did cut this video. I was eating a sandwich in the middle of it, so this is not entirely an uncut video. There are like 3 or 4 spaces, one where I spent almost a full minute fixing my sleeves, cut that out. A couple of moments where I just stopped and was chewing my sandwich and shaking the table. All of those got cut out, so I'm sorry you don't get to see me eating my ham sandwich. But, no, instead you get to see me obsessing over these very lopsided coins. It's my favorite part about drawing is making things that look so close to right. And then you go, oh no, that's not how that's supposed to be. And I really dig that. I first started, someone came to me with a drawing challenge on Tumblr and they said, hey, draw like little emoji smiley faces, but with really realistic eyes. And it just set me off. I loved it so much. I love drawing things that are utterly ridiculous, could not possibly exist in reality, and then try to make them look real. One of my favorite drawings in my sketch pad is actually the plants wearing pants meme that went around Tumblr forever ago. And so I just have this trio of hyper-realistic plants in the boy band setup, and it just makes me so happy. So here you can see me, I'm removing my guidelines and using a kneaded eraser because it's so much nicer to use a kneaded eraser than anything else. Everything else is either too hard or too soft or doesn't pick up the graphite the right way. And with a kneaded eraser you can shape it into whatever you need. So we are currently scrubbing off the hardest of our guidelines. This really helps for when you break out the pens because graphite is a lubricant. So that means it's going to make your paper slick, it's going to spread, and it's going to create this barrier where water and oil can't penetrate, and all of a sudden your pen's not going to work. So whenever you see that kind of crazy intense prepping the space with the kneaded eraser, that's an indication someone's coming in with another medium because they know better than to draw in pen directly over pencil. It's one of the reasons why ballpoint pen drawings almost never have an underdrawing, because it's really hard to use ballpoint pen on top of graphite because it's an oil-based ink, and so it just sloughs off. And so now we're going to see me hyperfixate. I really enjoy, once I find a detail that I want to work on, I really dig into it. And so here we're going to see me just go ham on the opening of this bag. I really love leather bags. I really like the idea of heavy, thick, quality bags. And so in my head I was like, how you do that is you're going to have this nice heavy outline for the lip of the bag, because that's where you get to see how thick the bag really is. And so you'll notice a lot of my lines don't touch because we're trying to create this dimension of thickness. We've got a lot of like the lines contouring over each other and doubling up into space, and then you're going to see me later, I'm going to go in and shade it. I kind of bounce back and forth between the coins and the lip of the bag for a minute here because ADHD is strong with this one. I really hope you guys find yourselves enjoying this video. If you've made it this far, this would be a wonderful time to hit like and subscribe. I'm trying to build a channel out of this, and I'm trying to make some kind of a living for myself. And if you think I've got what it takes, please hit that button, give me a vote of confidence, man. I'm taking myself out of the classroom this year. I'm a school teacher by trade, and it's become time to make a change. We have a lot of stuff going on in the school buildings, and we got a lot of stuff going on in politics, and for some reason those two are connected, and I don't like it. I can't remember a time growing up when what was happening in the classroom was in the news. I was homeschooled. I didn't know what was going on in the classrooms or at schools other than what was on TV and Boy Meets World and shows like that. Like, I got introduced to the public school system through Wizards of Waverly Place, you know? And it's really disturbing now to see that internet trends have more to do with what's happening at school than almost anything else. I mean, I think I had about 10 different students go home for almost a full week over that devious licks stuff where they were trying to steal things. When we had a kid walk out of our neighboring high school with the bathroom stall doors because, you know, you get on TikTok and it's just for a fun video. It's not real. It's not illegal. I mean, we saw that with the Chase Money glitch. Like, and it's not just adults doing it. It's kids. People see the trends on the internet, and for some reason they think that that's not scripted. Man, let me tell you, the only thing that is not scripted on the internet is probably me trying to do this voiceover right now. Like, and this is my third or fourth attempt. You can't trust what's on the internet, and so many people are using it to determine how they're going to act. And that scares me, and I just can't watch it happen. And I can't watch parents promote it for another year. I mean, I'm so glad that this year we are seeing a huge rise in the number of schools willing to cut phones out of the school space. They're just a hazard on every level. They're a safety hazard. They are a nightmare for trying to keep kids safe. Like, you have no idea how many kids set up fights beforehand via phone because they don't have to throw notes at each other past paper airplanes. They can just send out a snap, I'm gonna beat the crap out of this kid, and nobody knows what's happening except the kids. And get stitches has been a thing for decades now. It is ground into the very culture of the school. The teachers teach it to the students, because we try to save the kids from getting bullied for being snitches. So we remind the kids, hey, this is how you tell responsibly. You have to do it anonymously. You have to do X, Y, Z. And at this point, we're teaching the kids how to safely break the rules so that they can get the least negative repercussions possible. I mean, how messed up is that? Jumping back for a second to the drawing itself, we can see, yes, I'm back to chasing squirrels, but when I do those lines, first of all, I use a template, and second of all, you get to see the two different ways I do it. So the first way, we're just running the pen along the template for every single line, scooting the template. So far, it basically feels like it didn't move. The other method is you set up these vertical guidelines like I did on the left, and then you can just fill in your lines in between. This helps keep your lines from wobbling too much or changing orientation beyond what you want it to. It also really helps for when you're trying to do like a radiant design where things are radiating out from a singular point, or more complicated compositions. It can be really helpful for getting your lines done right. This way also allows you to determine your shading, because if you'll notice how thickly packed the lines are at the top above the butt of the bag, you can really see how dark it's gotten up there just because the lines are too close together. So this is how you can create the illusion of gray using your pens. There's me hitting the camera for the second time today. But yeah, back to students. I'm terrified for them. I'm terrified for this new year. I am genuinely scared for these kids. I came into teaching at the wrong time. I started with the first year of COVID, and honest to God, that was probably the best school year I had as a teacher, was the first year of COVID. And that's heinous. It's sickening that was where I found my best experience teaching. But the reality is that parents were motivated and involved. They wanted the kids to be in school because we'd already had the year of lockdown and they did not like it. And we had respect, and we had a little bit of help, and we had a leg up, And when the students were misbehaving, the parents had something to say about it. And now we're back. We are back to generational trauma determining how people deal with their kids' teachers. And we are dealing with generational trauma determining our policy around schools. And we're letting generational trauma decide everything. Because let me tell you, you have never seen generational trauma spread through a space like it does through a public school. There is no other space where you see trauma passed from person to person like it's a freaking tray of shots, man. These kids are jaded and angry. They think that school has no value for them. They are upset at the school that was done in the 90s. They are upset about policies that are older than their grandparents, and they are using that as grounds to disengage. And their parents will not hear anything about their kid that isn't from the horse's mouth. And so kids have been given the strange power because their parents are so traumatized by their youth where no adult believed them when they were actually and legitimately being discriminated against. I'm not going to say you weren't actually harmed. My wife is a victim of the kind of baloney that happens in a public school environment, and I'm a teacher there. I am not going to be here saying that it doesn't happen, because it does. It absolutely does. But the problem is that the assumption is that every teacher is abusive. The assumption is that every teacher is just waiting to reach out and touch a kid. The assumption is that teachers are out to get your kids. And do you know what's exhausting? Is spending every day trying to teach someone who does not even know how to read English, because they don't. Someone who does not even know how to figure out what a word sounds like. They can't read aloud, they can't present, they have anxiety. Every one of them has an ADHD diagnosis. They can't. And so I'm here doing for them. I walk them through half the problems on the worksheet because otherwise no one will do it. If I don't provide explicit and constant examples, if I don't walk through and correct your test questions as you're hitting the buttons, if you're not constantly coming to me for feedback about, is this good enough? Is this worth an A? Can you grade this in the moment so that then I can go back, sit down and fix it? They are so dependent on us as teachers. And then they treat us like we are villains and monsters. And you talk to parents and they treat us like liars who are just out to hurt kids because, I decided to spend 9 hours of my day every day working with your children because I hate them. I mean, I do now. That's part of why I'm leaving. Because you tell a kid they're hated by somebody over and over and over again, they're going to believe you. If you spend all of your time with your kid telling them stories of how you were discriminated against at school and you better watch out for this and you better keep an eye out for this, do you know what they're going to do? They're going to have an implicit bias where they see it everywhere. And look what we have. We have generations of people who were messed up by the school system, who were genuinely lost between the cracks, who were genuinely harmed, all over the internet, broadcasting their pain to try and deal with it. And that pain is shaping an entire generation's way of looking at their teachers. And you add to that we have a growing lack of trust in the tertiary education system, so moving on to bachelor and graduate degrees. And all of a sudden, high school is like the most important layer of education, because most of us are not going to go out and get a college degree, not with the prices these days, not in this economy. And so your high school diploma becomes the only one that matters. And I look at these kids and they are all constantly sure that their high school diploma has nothing to do with their ability to be successful or to be excellent or to make money. And they're right. But the study skills that they learn at school are something they're not going to find anywhere else. And the guidance and the feedback that they get at school is something they're not going to find anywhere else. They are going to have to pay for it. And so this is me, a scared teacher, signing off and hoping you all have had a chance to sit back, doodle, and chill. Bye, guys.